Hello friends, Miguel here with a brief history of the Templo del Señor del Monte, or Temple of the Lord of the Mountain, here in Jocotepec, Jalisco. This is the central and principal structure of the town, located next to the Plaza El Zarape, City Hall, and Los Portales, or the shops around the plaza. This is a classic arrangement of colonial towns of Mexico. Its exterior as well as its interior have seen an evolution throughout its nearly 3 centuries of existence. Let's see a few more details about this historic building. In the oldest photo I have seen of Jocotepec, dated in 1899, we see the temple as we know it today, but still covered in calicanto, known today as stucco. But in her book, Fotohistoria de Jocotepec Jalisco, 4th edition, the historian of Jocotepec, Aida Aguilar Perez, teaches that the first chapel saw its beginning in the 16th century with the Spanish invasion and likely resembled these examples. Since it was light and fragile, it was demolished by a tornado, leaving only the foundation. After its reconstruction and until 1721, the church was of adobe construction and poorly decorated due to the poverty of its inhabitants. In the National Archive of Mexico, there is a drawing by a Spanish scribe, Joanes Antonio Gutierrez Sanchez, from 1748 that gives us a good idea of how it was designed. Since I could find no other images from that time, I am showing similar structures to appreciate how this chapel may have looked. This chapel was sufficient for the number of inhabitants in Jocotepec until the mid-18th century when the population rebounded. At about the same time, the clergy changed their organization from regular with friars to secular with priests, so it was decided it was time to erect a larger church, beginning construction in 1796. The project was paused incomplete and remained so for decades until the pastor Miguel Arana resumed the project in 1854 and finished it in 1880 with the presentation we see today. Included in the project was the Campana Mayor, or Major Bell, built with resources of the inhabitants of Jocotepec by donating their gold and silver jewelry. This arch used to hold the emergency bell for Jocotepec, and across the street Miguel Arana there was a lookout tower that remained until the end of the 19th century. During times of civil conflict, the lookout guard would signal the bellman to warn the entire town with uninterrupted ringing to prepare for the impending contingency. The historian of the state of Jalisco, Alfredo Alcántara Gutiérrez, says that the chapel style evolved until it reached an architectural eclecticism. Its basic structure consists of a single nave to which the lateral chapels are attached, presenting the form of a cross as seen from the sky, as required by the Council of Trent. With low vaults resting on the sidewalls of the nave, it has rectangular windows for lighting and ventilation. The bell tower was built in 3 bodies, the first built with stone, the second built with brick, with semicircular arches in pairs on all 4 sides, and the third with the same form but finished with a cone and an iron cross at the highest point, topping the harmonious ensemble. Aida Aguilar Perez documents, and many of us remember, that formerly the exterior was covered with stucco, which was removed between 1960 and 1980. About the same time, the pipe organ and the campana mayor, or major bell, also disappeared. Some assure that this bell could be heard as far as the hacienda of Huejotitan, and it somehow ended up in the bell tower of Ocotlan, Jalisco, during the period of priest Francisco González Domínguez. The oldest bell was known as the Campana de los Niños, or Bell of the Children, dated in 1775. This bell was placed in the tower by the efforts of the Franciscans, who were in charge of the administration of the building and provided spiritual consolation to the townspeople until the secularization of the parish in 1780. This bell disappeared around 2008 when it was melted to produce a new one, losing yet another historical treasure. In 2017, a remodel was conducted to cover the second and third bodies of the bell tower with stone slabs, giving it a similar appearance to the first body and no longer showing its brick construction, and tiles were installed on the cone's outer surface. The purpose was to eliminate the fissures where vegetation grows and over time weaken the structure. The robust tower, located on the northern part of the facade, houses the baptistry at floor level. Above the main entrance is a coral window which consists of an ox eye of elliptical shape. The entrance is through an arch with a triangular keystone supporting a tympanum and consists of sober columns with simple frieze of Gothic tradition. The inside of the old temple had a wooden floor as seen in this photo, and in the arch between the two angels it read, "And he was wounded by our iniquities," Isaiah. Alfredo Alcantara says that the altarpiece is neo-Gothic. There used to be a handrail of turned wood to stop passage to the altar. Aida Aguilar tells us of the legend that says that in the year 1718, on the Camino Real, or Royal Way, between Jocotepec and San Pedro, Christ appeared to a native in a huaje tree. 3 Christs were sculpted from that tree. First, the Lord of the Huaje. Second, the Lord of the Mountain. And the third is the small Christ that is in the sacristy. In 1833, when the cholera morbus struck, the terrified inhabitants ran to the church and begged the Señor del Monte, who was then closer to the entrance, to stop the plague. This abated after 3 months by its natural cycle, but was seen by the people as a miracle. In gratitude, civilians and municipal authorities signed a solemn oath to recognize the Lord of the Mountain as a protector of material and spiritual needs of Jocotepec. During every subsequent journey of the patron saint festivities, between 1 and 2 grosses of 144 pyrotechnic rockets were detonated. The purpose of the rockets was to communicate the celebration to the town's neighborhoods, but enough were burned to make sure that neighboring towns were also informed. Today, an apparatus is used to burn about half a gross of rockets in a matter of seconds. The thunder from these causes permanent hearing loss to adults, children, and animals, frequent scares, and general discomfort. Among other problems is the damage they cause to nearby structures. Although the majority of the inhabitants of Jocotepec tell me that they dislike these rockets and that recent regulations now prohibit the noise pollution they produce, traditional inertia and local commercial prosperity have increased their use with each year, making noise from 5 a.m. until midnight in an almost continuous fashion during these celebrations. The future of the structure is unknown due to the progressive damage caused by a fault that passes nearby the temple, already causing fractures in its walls. Recently, a project was carried out with the purpose of mitigating these effects of the fault, but it is difficult or impossible to stabilize a building of such size and weight over shifting ground. Hopefully, engineers will find an effective solution, or that the nature of the ground will favor the longevity of this magnificent temple. It would be a true pity to lose another of the last historical buildings of Jocotepec. Well, friends, I will leave you with encouragement to share and publish images and information you may have, so we may all enrich the general knowledge of our fascinating and historical Jocotepec. Thank you, friends, for your attention. I look forward to your comments and contributions on the subject. Please support my effort by subscribing to my channel, sharing my videos, and placing a like. Hasta pronto.